Live.
All right, so we're out here with Bristol, and the skill of the day for today is conditioned relaxation, which is something we normally cover in the partner program, but it sometimes gets like pushed aside at the because we do it at the end, and sometimes there's just other skills that we're working on. So I don't think we have done this with her. I could be wrong. I do think it's an important skill, and I'm excited to kind of reassess how she's doing with that. It's just another where she, with her particular set of like struggles recently with kind of bulking at the leash and kind of pancaking out and resisting and not moving forward, this is an exercise that will help that behavior and help you in those situations. So with conditioned relaxation, conditioned relaxation is looking to get relaxation on cue. So unfortunately, what that doesn't look like is we say, "Hey, Bristol, relax," and she falls asleep or something, like dog hypnotism. But what it does do is allows us to capture the act of settling and calming behaviors, which requires us to learn and look at the dog and know what calming looks and feels like, so that we can mark it and then eventually get it on verbal cue. And we're also working with a concept called posture facilitated relaxation. So essentially with posture facilitated relaxation, if the body is calm, the mind is most likely to follow, so that we can find those calming signals, capture them and name them and get them in our belt. So in that process of getting the dog into this posture that we're looking for, oh, very good settling. Ta-da! Good girl. So in that process, and maybe this will go swimmingly, and she's already worked on it, which is usually when we get Bristol out, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a challenge. She just does it. She nails it. That's what she does. So anyway, the process of getting our dog into that position ultimately can present with the dog potentially being like, I don't think I want to do this right now. And we get to work through being like, actually, we're going to make this happen, because it's very important and it's a very underrated skill where we potentially ask our dogs to do something they're refusing to do. Our dogs have to learn how to cope with gentle restraint and a little bit of have to for certain situations, like the vet and grooming, or in her case where she's just like putting on the brakes because she wants to like check out what's going on over here, but we actually want to go this way. So this is an opportunity to work through some of that, and that's a very helpful exercise for all of those reasons. So first things first, I'm going to get her into the DOWN position, and I do like to use a tactile cue to get my dog into that position rather than just, she's watching Alex walking around, rather than saying the command. And that's more just because the idea of this exercise is to yield to pressure. So I'm looking to use tactile pressure that my dog can feel and teach my dog to yield to that pressure. So I'm applying that downward pressure and I'm removing the pressure as soon as I feel her body moving. Nice stretch, girlfriend. Good. Another important part of conditioned relaxation, posture facilitated relaxation, is I want to take on the energy that I want my dog to take on. Good yawn. So I'm going to be as calm and relaxed as possible. My touch on the dog is going to be calm and deep and undulating versus fast and frenetic. So I'm going to be looking to calm my body as I do this with the dog as well. Good yawn. Sometimes yawning is a stress signal, but it's also like a calming signal as well. So dogs will yawn when going from an elevated state of mind to a more calm state of mind. So I generally mark that. Calm, blinky eyes. Good, she just softened her face and she's yawning. So right now I can see her ears pricked, wrinkles in the forehead, and then she smoothed it out as she relaxed and rested her chin. So these are all calming. Now she's like in this funny frog dog. So talking about posture facilitated relaxation again, the position that we're looking for is dog on the side, ideally with their back spine towards us, but that doesn't necessarily matter. Spine facing us back, all 4 feet touching the floor, head touching the floor. She's got a little bobbin of a tail, but technically tail touching the floor. And that might not necessarily be how your dog sleeps. So we generally say that's the most relaxed position we can get our dog in. And then sometimes we have dogs that prefer to sleep like this. If your dog's a silly sleeper, that's how they relax. That's fine, but we do want to insist on getting this position, mostly because, especially if your dog is resistant to want to get into that position and they kind of prefer to like, no, I want to lay down like this. Again, that's really the point of this exercise, is we're looking to work against our dog a little bit and teach them to cooperate with us, which helps build our bond. Good. She's gonna just magically do the exercise we want. Perfect. Another thing that happens here when we do, and if you, there should be other videos of the process. She kind of just magically ended up here, so maybe in the next rep we'll show how we get there. But here she is on her side. However, with the tension in her body currently, and she's kind of assuming the rub my belly pose, that's actually a common thing that will pop up when we work on this. So dogs will be like, oh, I'm on my side, but now I'm on my back and I'm showing my belly. And actually, nervous dogs tend to do this a lot as well. It's kind of like an appeasement behavior, almost like, ooh, like this is making me feel uncomfortable. How about like a belly rub? So I want to work through that as well and say like, no, it's not like rubby belly. I will rub your belly when you're on your, like, that's part of the massage process, but I don't want stiff legs on their back. Another thing is, I think that generally that's actually an easier position for dogs to pop out of than it is to be on their side. I think physiology wise, they can actually spring up from that position on their back easier than they can being on their side. So I think it's a bit of a like vulnerable position for them, and sometimes that makes them feel uncomfortable. So this is great. Her spine is toward me. I'm going to put some counter pressure on this elbow that's closest to me and kind of turn, tilt. And I want to actually have her do the work. Good. I'm going to put the pressure on as if I was gonna like jujitsu roll her, but I want her to actually do the physical rolling. So I'm putting enough pressure for her to understand which way she needs to go and yield, but I want her to actually do that movement. So she looks really good right here, so I'm gonna start massaging the large muscle groups. Her night, good. Her shoulder just instantly melted and relaxed as I rubbed that. Now I'm just gonna work on, it's very common for dogs to kind of have like tension in that back leg. If she starts to get up, same thing. I'm not gonna like pin her down, but I'm gonna put that pressure back to, so that she understands where she needs to yield. Some dogs are a little like tricky about being touched on the tail, but I do like to, if they're comfortable with it, kind of move their tail up so that it's not tucked, because dogs tend to carry a lot of tension at the base of their tail. So I want to make sure that it's loosely moving and not like, like stuck to their body, like glue. So I want to make sure all of our feet are nice and floppy. This looks really good. And she has soft, blinky eyes. And so I can start to name this, so I can say easy as I find tension in the body. Good, as she relaxes it. So she looks really great. Okay, nice. When I release, I just want to make sure I am using a release word every time we do this exercise, so it's super clear for her when it's okay to get up. I don't want to, this is especially an exercise where I don't want the dog to read the play and be like, are we done? No, and it's until you are released. So this can start to become more challenging by adding in a very exciting game or exercise right before you do this, or right after. And I just like to have a little bit of a buffer period in between, like even if it's only 2 or 3 minutes. So I would say like, she just did condition relaxation in 2 or 3 minutes. I would say like, hey, you wanna play a game? And we would get as excited and silly and as energetic as we could. And then I will close that window of opportunity for that game and say, enough, all done, whatever your cue for that word is, or that game. And then I'd gather her up and we'd start a condition relaxation session, and we'd practice fluctuating, going through that spectrum of energy. So that's kind of the next steps for her. She's obviously really good at this here with nothing going on. So another thing we can do is practicing in more challenging places. Some vets are really open for you to just like, hey, like, can I come in on a less busy day? You can even try this where you're walking, where she's having a little bit of trouble. especially where she wants to put on the brakes when she sees people passing by. If you could find a spot where that's happening and post up and just work on this, that's a really helpful thing, I think. That would be good for her. So for her afternoon walks, instead of necessarily making the criteria to get out and get the exercise, which ultimately that's the goal, you could just practice getting her out and doing some conditioned relaxation, and you can bring a place bed and do it on the place bed so you're not in like the grass. But I think that would be, and do it in a spot where you can kind of control how close or far those things that are kind of causing her to pancake out are, people and dogs, I'm assuming. So that would be really great for her, but she's doing awesome as usual. She's a rock star. Good job, Bristol.